Hi, it's Jan. I wanted to share my weight loss journey through the years because this technically isn't the first time I've done this. I've done the Atkins since I was 6, and I've done different diets since then because I was considered a big kid compared to like the Filipino kids, which are super skinny. I was just chubby, and I loved eating ice cream and cake and carbs. So I think technically I was a big kid, but not really. Not really in the sense that compared to the kids here, I was smaller. Um, so I did different diets then. When I was in high school, I popped pills, like fat burning pills or slim pills, whatever they called it. And I worked out on and off since I was in high school, college. I worked out on and off, but I've never changed my diet when I worked out. So technically when I was working out, I didn't really lose weight because I didn't change my diet. And when I moved to LA, I've done the calorie counting. I've done the clean eating. I also did the 2-hour meals. Like every 2 hours you would eat. And then soon after that, I discovered juice cleansing. Well, I was introduced to juice cleansing, and I saw this. So I saw this documentary on Netflix. I forget what it's called, but I did the juice cleanse, and I was on the cleanse for 72 days. And I would just drink carrot juice in the morning to give me energy, and throughout the day I would have water with apple cider and agave in it. And after that, after 72 days, after I did that for 72 days, I became a vegan, and then a vegetarian, and then a pescatarian. And when I went to culinary school, I had to eat meat again. And ultimately I lost 100 pounds doing all of that. When I was a vegan, vegetarian, or pescatarian, I would have salad for breakfast, and I wouldn't put any dressing on it, because after you do a cleanse, you can actually taste what vegetables actually taste like. Your palate enhances after a long cleanse. And yeah, I lost 100 pounds doing that. And 4 years ago, I went home to the Philippines to visit, and I lived there for 3 months. When I went home, my then boyfriend, we would work out together in the morning, 5-6 a.m. And then soon after we worked out together, I hired a personal trainer, and he put me on fat burners days after we started. And I actually remember my boyfriend getting really mad about that, because being on fat burners is super unhealthy. But I did it anyway. And the fat burners would get me heart palpitations. It would make me sweat even though I wasn't doing anything. I would just be sitting and I would be sweating at the same time. And then doing workouts in the morning, 5-6 a.m. and then in the afternoon I would play tennis, and then at night I would go swimming. So I lost a lot of weight doing all of that. I actually had a dream dress that I wanted to fit in, and actually fit into it. It was a small dress. I could actually put a picture up here if I could find it. And I'll also put the before and after pictures of a few years back. I'll put it up here. So yeah, I lost 100 pounds, and after I came back, I went through this whole thing that I may discuss in the future. And I slowly started to gain the weight back. I was working at a job where I had zero sleep. When I moved to New York, I managed 2 sports bars and eating greasy food and getting home really, really late, waking up really early with no sleep. I would stress eat, and I was an emotional eater even before then. That's also part of the problem. Actually, I forgot, when I got back from the Philippines, I actually hired another trainer in LA. I did martial arts. And that's my whole workout, was doing martial arts with my trainer. And when I worked at the bar, I joined I did CrossFit. It was helpful for me in terms of that. Like, I love the competition aspect of CrossFit. Like, you have to do better the next day. Like, you're in competition with yourself is what I'm trying to say. And I loved it. Like, I loved all of the coaches there because they were attentive and helpful. But soon after me going ham, because I'm an all or nothing type of person, so I went crazy with doing CrossFit. I overdid it and I injured my lower back. And after that healed, I joined, I did kickboxing. I joined the UFC gym. And I did kickboxing. I loved it. And I had to end that when I ended my job at the bar because the gym and the bar was like a walking distance from each other. And I haven't worked out. I haven't been back to a gym since. And a few months ago, I was at my biggest before I started shedding all the weight now. And I got to a point where I really wanted to start this whole journey, but I didn't want to start anything at all if I didn't get to the root of why I was emotional eating. And I'll put a separate video for that as to like your whys of what you're doing, so to speak. And therapy was super helpful for me in terms of that. Like, I really got to the root of why I was doing all of that, like why I was emotionally eating, why I didn't stick to any diet. And my whole thing of this was to share that fad diets aren't safe. I've known people that have done a ton of fad diets and they would just gain all the weight back, which was what happened to me. And also, don't take any fat burners or slimming pills. Or I've actually never tried the waist trainer. Like, I don't want to try it. It looks brutal. I'm sorry if you girls like want or are doing that, like, good job, like, good for you, because I could never do that to myself. It looks painful. And yeah, like, if you really want to lose weight, or if you just want to get through a healthy journey and you're an emotional eater, I would suggest like getting to your why too. And yeah, seek help with going through your lifestyle change. What I do now is like I only weigh myself once a month, and I would do it at my doctor's office because it's the legit scale that they have. And also counts your BMI, because like I don't like what I'm doing is I take pictures, I take measurements, and I write down my weight. And I actually, when I did CrossFit or when I went to the gym, I never weighed myself as much because my CrossFit coach told me not to trust the scale because it varies. Like, if you have more water weight or if you're more muscle than fat, then your weight would be heavier. So he encouraged me to not weigh myself, but instead to like take measurements or like base it off of like the clothes, if they got bigger on you or not. So inches are always best to go off of. And yeah, I'll share my before and after pictures of a few years back and my before and after pictures now, and also the dress if I can find it. But yeah, I'll share more soon. Bye.